That is a very dramatic title, but it got you here. So hang out for a bit and let's chat about some movies that definitely deserve the 4K treatment. I am not actually furious about these movies not being in 4K. I'm more confused because none of the feature films that we're going to talk about today are, obscure by any means of the word. There's no like deep cuts happening here. In fact, the joke that I was going to say is like, oh, well, we're not doing like an Eastern European art house Tarkovsky movie. But the thing is, Tarkovsky's film catalog is being released in 4K. Because of this, I actually pre-ordered Nostalgia because I love that movie. It's my second. Look, the one that hit me the most is Sacrifice, but that's for another video. And we're here for movies that I cannot believe don't have a 4K UHD HDR remaster. Like these are blockbusters that are not absurdly old. I think the oldest one I'm going to talk about today is from the 1990s. The 90s isn't that old for these types of movies to get a 4K restoration. So let's grab some popcorn, grab a drink, and let's chat about what deserves a 4K restoration. I don't know why I keep calling it a restoration. 4K remaster. Just give me the movie in 4K. So let's start with movie number 1, Twister. This was a massive, massive movie in the 90s. And it is perfect. It is a perfect movie to get the 4K treatment. It was just like one of those summer blockbusters that you could not avoid when it was coming out. And We've Got Cows has entered the lexicon because of this movie. It's a big, bombastic Hollywood blockbuster.
Is there an F5?
This one's a little bit of an honorable mention, and that's why I wanted to kick it off, because I do expect it to get a 4K release with Twisters coming out later this summer. It probably will. And this is a movie that I think Dolby Vision will really help the aging VFX sit a little bit better, because the 1080p stream, it's looking a little rough. It could use some love. It is absolutely a movie that could benefit from a Dolby Atmos remaster. Like really dig deep into the bass, get tornadoes whipping behind you. Gary Ools getting killed, that'd be sick. That would just get a little, just really highlight the juice of him. Let me be honest. I am running the LA Marathon this Sunday, so I'm a little like amped up, like stress-wise. So if you're gonna be there, wave or say hey. The next movie is Magnolia. This is Paul Thomas Anderson. This is PTA's magnum opus of life in LA. It's not his only one, but this one is my favorite of his. And it is a gorgeous movie. The anamorphic character is just so pleasing to watch the entire way through. And it will just sing in Dolby Vision. Now with Twister, I think a Dolby Atmos track is absolutely needed to really extract the most out of it. But I think a 5.1 DTS Master HD is totally appropriate for a movie like Magnolia. I mean, it does have some interesting audio cues throughout, especially when it's whipping between actor A to actor B. But look, I'm a little bit of a purist on that movie. I'm not a purist for all movies. Like Twister, like that's a big Hollywood blockbuster that is bombastic, and I want to see that at the highest technical level it can achieve. But for some reason with Magnolia, yeah, I feel like I'm a little protective of it, a little bit of a purist on it. I love it when older movies that have like a stereo or mono mix gets the 5.1 and they kind of go in and they pad out the other channels. But I do always throw on mono now and again just to have like the true experience of what audiences enjoyed back when it was released. I gotta say, the HD transfer looks lovely. I'm not really mad about it, but it could just it could just look better. Before I move to movie number 3, PTA does have a lot of movies that you would expect to be in 4K that aren't. But the one I'm going to talk about is The Master. The story of The Master is much more reserved, but it was shot in 65 millimeter film. So to have that only in HD is a little bit of a disservice to that negative. It just pains me that all of that detail and nuance and color rendition is just kind of chucked away in the HD Blu-ray right now. It's a beautiful transfer, but it's not, it's not what you got to see in the theater, and it's not at all maximizing what 65 millimeter brings and is able to capture. So that one is a must-have for 4K, and it's frustrating that it's not. And that leads me perfectly into the next movie, and that is No Country for Old Men. If you were around when No Country came out, you could not escape the conversation around its cinematography. It was at all times. It was unavoidable, and it's absolutely a beautiful film, and it's only available in HD. Now, there could be a reason for No Country for Old Men not getting a remaster, because I have to imagine Roger Deakins would be involved. And he has been on the record of not particularly liking HDR. He discussed it on his podcast that he does with his wife and creative partner, James. When he was doing the Blade Runner 2049 HDR trim, he hated it. He liked the traditional dynamic range within the image. So, to be fair, maybe he's just disinterested. And I can't imagine a remaster or a 4K re-release without Roger Deakins being intimately involved with the visuals. Movie number 4, Moulin Rouge. Let's be real. This movie slaps. It is one of my favorite, I've had a couple glasses of wine. Let's throw it on. Honestly, it is a very enjoyable musical. And I'm not the most musical film guy. I don't rush out to see the newest musical. But I do love Moulin Rouge, and I do love the spectacle of what Baz Luhrmann was able to slam together in these metal. To be clear, Moulin Rouge was a massive hit. It was nominated for multiple Academy Awards and made bank. So the fact that it doesn't have a 4K is a little baffling to me. I do love the Moulin Rouge, and it is one of my favorite musicals, up there with both West Side Stories and Singing in the Rain. It's just one of those movies that I can put on at any time. And on top of all of that, it would look gorgeous in 4K. It is already a stunning movie, and it could just explode with a proper 4K UHD transfer. Just thinking of Nicole Kidman's famous red dress that's in all of the publicity, and the wider color gamut could really just make all of those colors come alive again in 2024. It could look staggering. And on top of that, that is a movie that deserves a Dolby Atmos remix. I just could imagine the songs really enveloping you in a way that the 5.1 can't quite achieve. I can't believe Baz Luhrmann went back and redid Australia with Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman into a mini series instead of remastering this, and I don't know, Romeo plus Juliet, which gets a little honorable mention of needing a 4K release. Yeah, I think Moulin Rouge is just such a entertaining movie that could really use and benefit from a 4K remaster. Movie number 4 is Hero. Now, if you haven't seen Hero, this is a little bit more on the obscure side. I don't know how obscure it is, but it is one of my favorite martial arts films. It is beautiful from beginning to end. Hero, the format of it is like Rashomon, where you have different perspectives of the same story play out over the course of the movie. And in each perspective, it is beautifully color coded by red, greens, whites. It is a beautiful film that has amazing production design and costuming. And one of the standouts is Jet Li versus Donnie Yen. And it's in black and white. And it's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen because of the structure, the meaning of the scene. And look, the graphics there at the end with the water drops aren't the best, but the black and white sequence is absurdly beautiful. And conceptually, everything about Hero is just 10 out of 10 for me. And I can't wait to see a 4K restoration of it. Like Twister, the transfer of it is showing its age. Again, with sound, the 5.1 track is pretty good. I think this is a movie that would benefit from a Dolby Atmos mix. And the last movie I want to discuss is Children of Men. This movie is an utter masterpiece of storytelling and visuals. It is probably the movie I've watched the most in my adult life. I think, I think it's probably up there. It is just one of those beautiful pieces of storytelling. It has scope, but it also has such great humanity. And the blocking and storytelling is just one of a kind. It is a movie that so rich, but also so entertaining. You know what I mean? Like it has the depth, but it has the pew-pews too. And it's also a movie that is probably one of the most influential looks in cinema in the past 20 years. It's a modern classic that is a little bit on the more obscure side compared to the other like big Hollywood blockbusters that I'm talking about. But it was nominated for a lot of Academy Awards. It definitely looks great in HD. I have no issues with the transfer. But again, it is one of those movies that is so gorgeous that I could only imagine how good it could look with a Dolby Vision treatment. I just love that movie so much. It is something that I can return to over and over again. Yeah, so those are my movies. It has such a small sample size of movies that definitely deserve a 4K release. If this was entertaining, fun, or stupid, subscribe, like, comment down below. I look forward to hearing what your movies are, and if you disagree, if you think Armageddon should only be released on VHS. Bold opinion, but I respect it.